My name's Joe Manglardi. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I came down to Florida in 2003. Did my undergrad at the University of Central Florida, originally in aerospace engineering, and then switched over to hospitality. Now here in Daytona, Florida, I attend Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, where I'm enrolled in their graduate programs, more specifically in aeronautical science with a dual specialization in aerospace operations and air traffic management.
Nice. And how long do you have? How much longer do you have?
This is actually my last semester. I'll be graduating in May, in my final course right now for air traffic, which is a non-radar class, and I'll be done in May.
Nice. So tell us how you got involved with aviation. How did that transgress from your hospitality degree at UCF?
It was actually kind of funny how it happened. I grew up always interested in aviation, and when I got to UCF, as I said, I enrolled in the aerospace engineering program. I went through that for a couple months. Within the first semester I changed just because engineering really wasn't where I wanted to be, and UCF didn't offer any other aviation courses. I switched into hospitality because I also had an interest in the restaurant business. When I graduated and I was on the open market and working back up in Chicago, I just started thinking that hospitality wasn't really where I wanted to spend the rest of my career, and looked back into getting into aviation, knowing that after reaching back, started to realize that's where I wanted to be, and so I applied at Embry-Riddle and I got accepted, and here I am.
All right, Joe, so I know your career goal is to become an air traffic controller. How did that come about, and why did you choose air traffic over becoming a professional pilot?
When I started at Embry-Riddle, as in the master's program, part of the aeronautical science degree, I started off flying and thinking I was going to be a pilot. As I started exploring the degree possibilities for the master's program, I came across air traffic control. I was always interested about it, so I decided to take a few classes, and throughout the classes I started to enjoy it more and more, and discovered I had a knack for it. So I just kind of continued to do that. I've been told there's a lot of opportunities there, more following where my lifestyle as far as being able to stay home, where as a pilot they're out and about often. I really enjoyed it. I still enjoy flying, which I still do, but air traffic control is just, as far as aviation, I feel I fit better in the air traffic control position than as a pilot.
Do you think that being a pilot has helped you with your studies as becoming an air traffic controller?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a back and forth type thing. Being a pilot, before being an air traffic controller, I had to learn how to be a pilot and what to expect from the controllers as I was flying. Now that I've been in the air traffic control degree program and I've been in the classes, it helps me recognize what pilots go through and helps me anticipate what control is going to tell me to do next, whether it's transfer to departure or climb or descend. It gives me both sides of the spectrum, and it really helps me just understand and grasp everything quicker than if I only was a pilot or only an air traffic controller.
So in your experience, where do you believe that the industry can improve, and what does it lack?
Well, as far as the air traffic control side, I know that the technology is way behind what the flight technology is at. So I think it's lacking there, and I know that there's been a lot of efforts to improve the technology, the systems that we use. A lot of them are dated back to World War II era, using radar. So I think that with the acceleration of next-gen technology for air traffic control is really going to be a huge step up and step forward for the safety of flight.
If you could make a single change to the aviation industry, what would it be and why?
Probably that, the change in regulations. I know that when I first started in 2009, there was a bill trying to get passed that required student pilots to have 1,500 flight hours and to be 23 years old to sit in the right seat. Again, it requires a lot of flight training time. Most students graduate with their undergrad at 21. They don't have 1,500 hours yet. It forces a lot of them to get into instructing, which is great for the time being, but then it's trying to find a spot. A lot of them get thousands upon thousands of hours and have to fly at regionals if you have for a regional. If you have a family and you're a pilot, you're away a lot, and you wind up rooming with a lot of other people, or so I've heard. So again, it's hard to say because I'm not in a full-fledged career in the industry, so I just have to kind of go off of what I've been learning and reading and personal communications with other people in the industry. So I think that making it easier and easier not in the sense of easier training, but some of those requirements I feel take a lot out of young people trying to get into the industry, and sometimes that can hurt their motivation and ambition to get into it.
So that being said, would you say that the small amount of, or small salary that these pilots are receiving once they go to the regionals, would you say that's a good contributing factor as to why there's not more youth in aviation?
I would think so. It makes sense to me. I know from an air traffic control perspective, controllers make significantly more a year than pilots do, and we still have the opportunity to go home to our families, sleep in our own beds every night. Most pilots that are going to be professionals do it because they have a passion to do it. Obviously, the money is a big part of it. I think that if the starting out salary was higher, it would definitely inspire more young aviators to pursue and push to get into the positions they want to be in. Absolutely.
All right, now, do you know off the top of your head what you pay per hour with an instructor in the 172?
With the instructor, I believe it's about $130 to $150 an hour. The usual approximated, if I had to just put a number on it, for about an hour flight time with the instructor is around $220. If you go over an hour, it could be anywhere from $250 to $280. So it's up there. For an hour, that's pretty extreme.
And if you had the option to trade an experimental aircraft for the fraction of the cost, would you go that route instead of what you're doing right now?
I think so. If that was offered to me, you know, I'm not a gung-ho type of pilot. I like to get up there and fly and enjoy it, and enjoy the scene from up there, and just knowing that I'm flying an aircraft. Experimental pilot to me in my head makes me a little nervous, but for it's all about money, especially at this point being a student, not in a career. The money plays a huge factor, so I would say yes. If I had the opportunity to fly an experimental aircraft for a fraction of the cost, I would do it.
What would you say the industry needs to attract more young pilots?
Well, more possibilities starting out. So many times I've talked to students, or we hear stories about students that have been waiting a significant amount of time once they finish school to actually get a job. That puts us in a position where we're looking for other secondary jobs that might not necessarily be in the industry at all, and it kind of it throws you off your game when you've been in it for a while, 4 years or 2 years in the graduate program, and then you take this big gap in between when you get hired. I think that if they had more things starting off almost entry level for people in the industry, it would definitely attract more. The aviation industry continues to grow, and with that, the people are always going to be there wanting to do it, but it's getting the young professionals to stay in it that's important, the people that are going to continue to do it throughout a career and really build their own personal development. So I think that if there was more opportunities for young professionals right out of school or out of academies or wherever they are, I think that would make a huge difference in the amount of people we see coming through.
Well, Joe, thanks a lot for meeting with us today. We
Yeah, no
appreciate you
problem.
taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime.